Are you weird? And yes, that is a genuine question. If you said no, you definitely are. If you said yes, however, I am here to prove you wrong. Instead, perhaps we should reserve that title for Tyler Brian Jewett. Tyler was born on May 10th, 1993. His childhood was plagued with problems from the very start, which would eventually lead to his strange behaviors as an adult. He claims to have been depressed and purposefully refused to become medicated for his ADHD and fears it would hinder his manic creativity, whatever that's supposed to mean. Furthermore, he claims to have experienced traumas that forced him to mature at a quicker pace than his peers. One example of this trauma he speaks of is his allegedly neglectful parents, who didn't even teach him how to properly wipe his own ass.
Chat, no, you want to hear something atrocious? I didn't know for like the vast majority of my life that you needed to wipe front to back.
Tyler was also given unlimited access to the internet from a young age, and once retold a story where he apparently stumbled upon a dead body with a flaccid, you know, and it made him excited.
Okay, wait, no, okay, so fun fact, like the first time I ever looked up, my friend was over, Larry, but I didn't know how to spell penis, and I kept spelling it P-I-N-E-S, and was like, I don't care about these trees! And there was one where like, it was it almost looked like it was dead, if it could ever be dead. And I remember looking at this completely unflattering photo and being like, yeah, this interests me in some capacity that I cannot yet understand.
Of course, his deviancy didn't end there. He would go on to tell another story about the time he accidentally discovered
because I was wearing boxers where that has like the fly open, and I was just laying watching Nick at Night in the living room, and my whole family is like, me and like my sibs and stuff were like all laying around, and I kept like, you know, itching myself or whatever, and I was like, damn, this feels good.
Now this day perhaps would inspire his lifelong obsession with underwear and doing nasty things in front of others. While we don't know much about his days in elementary and middle school, we do know that he spent his high school years at a private boarding school called Shady Side Academy. Sounds reputable. He graduated from there and went on to attend Purdue University, earning a bachelor's of science, biology, health, and disease, where he planned to have a career in cancer research. Less than 3 years later, however, Tyler had quit in favor of his lifelong dream, acting and singing. And to be fair to Tyler, he didn't exactly fail at that endeavor. Tyler managed to snag a few music theater roles and participated in a local student movie as a zombie extra, and eventually played as a Volta employee in a scene of Succession. 4 years ago, Tyler would upload this video, displaying his singing abilities for one of the first times documented online.
I love you, Lucy, more than you will know, can't get you out of my mind, out of my mind.
For whatever the reason, Tyler did not continue his showbiz career after this point. Some theorize it was due to his lack of true success in main roles, but others argue that he had spotted a far more enticing opportunity: Twitch live streaming. While he had already live streamed a little bit of the original Destiny on PS4, it wasn't until he hired a local social media marketing firm that his numbers would be boosted and a new gimmick created. Meet Tygre with 3 Gs. I guess 2 Gs would have left too much room for edgy jokes, and 1 G would be unoriginal. Whether it was the racy name connotations or perhaps his inability to capitalize on SEO, he eventually changed the name for good, finally landing on TygreCub. From this point forward, Tyler would transform himself from a handsome young man to an obese, non-binary pet. More on that in a bit. As I said, Tyler was getting big, really big, pretty much entirely from his lack of exercise and refusal to work besides playing video games and live streaming. Tyler capitalized on his newfound weight to post lewd images of himself online for really weird people to enjoy. However, Tyler's true claim to fame was yet to come. Some way or another, Tyler found himself performing for various charity live streams where he would find immense success. He eventually went on to have several performances at furry conventions, earning him the favor of the community. Of course, Tyler was not limited to streaming. He has a YouTube channel that boasts just over 6,000 subscribers. His most popular videos are pretty graphic in nature, with not a single one of them being age restricted. Now, looking at this lineup of videos, you may start to notice a pattern: underwear. Tyler has a sick obsession with underwear, made even more disturbing by the fact that he literally admits to being a when thinking of children in their boxers watching TV.
There's something to be said for leaving a little bit to mystery, right? There's a compromised, like, if you look at somebody in underwear, it's almost like this vulnerability, compromised state. And then some people throw on undies. It gives them that innocence, like, kid watching cartoons on Saturday morning type of visual, you know?
It doesn't stop there though. On August 25th of 2022, he posted this selfie to Twitter sporting underwear earrings. A little less than a year later, on March 17th of 2023, Tyler, for whatever reason, decided to tag an unidentified street lamp with a sticker of his persona in underwear. And you know, it's interesting because he specifically enjoys when the underwear has fun, colorful designs and cute characters on them. In other words, he prefers children's underwear. Worse yet, he openly and unapologetically identifies as a baby fur, or a person who finds pleasure in role-playing as a toddler or baby-aged anthropomorphic animal. Everything about Tyler screams creep, whether it's his underwear-themed Twitch emotes, his character sporting children's underwear, his underwear-themed Patreon tiers, and even his underwear tattoo on his wrist. Every single drawing that Tyler has commissioned for his persona is portrayed as underage, ranging from a newborn to preteen age. Tyler goes into detail about his underwear obsession on a regular basis. He claims he enjoys the thrill of wearing children's underwear, specifically the innocence associated with it. Of course, this all stems from his unspecified childhood trauma. In fact, Tyler goes out of his way to barely discuss the matter, but frequently uses it as a crutch to justify his attraction to innocence, which is basically code word for pedophilic tendencies. As I mentioned before, Tygre Cub was the official name of his channel and alias for quite a few years. If you aren't aware, cub is a term used for underage furry content, which, as I've previously laid out, is very consistent with his other interests. Eventually, he decided that openly calling himself a cub was not the best for PR, and so he changed his name to Tiger Stripes. And you see, other members of the furry community had decided enough was enough. Tyler had been involved in multiple incidents, including sexualizing cub characters on livestream, pressuring people online into cub ERP, and advertising his adult content to minors. So they as a group decided to have a talk in a private group chat, eventually deciding they were going to confront Tiger and hold him accountable for his actions. A furry member known as Sailboat Stoat decided to take matters into his own hands, posting on Twitter a link to an MP3 file where he explains the situation in more depth, handing out multiple serious allegations.
This is largely about how we handle our community, but yes, this is about Tiger. Yes, this is a little bit about the Board of Trustees. Yes, it's a little bit about our communities as a whole. It's complicated. I don't think people realized that for the longest time, Tiger was not an 18+ account. And during this time, in which they were very much so not an 18+ account, tons of minors following them, tons of minors interacting with them, nothing labeled anywhere, no 18+ in the account, nothing in any pinned, nothing in any bio, nowhere, anywhere were they 18+. They had minors following them, a lot of minors following them, and they would crop out porn and post it on the account, and people would say something. And as things got closer to when they actually did turn to 18+, they were literally retweeting and liking porn. They started off with liking, which you do still see on your feed, and then they were going to retweeting and other things like that. I remember for the longest time, I would look through some of the threads under Tiger's tweets, and you would see 14 and 15-year-olds right next to accounts of people who are 20, 30, 40, and they're engaging in age play, they're engaging in cub, and they're all in chats together, they're all in threads together. That's not safe. You know that's not safe. We all know that's not safe. It's incredibly unsafe. And you know it.
Apparently, Tyler had gathered up thousands of underage users on Twitter in multiple online group chats, and essentially exposed them to inappropriate content, and was completely disregarding the fact that over half of his community was underage. Another furry content creator by the name of Tommy Fox spoke out and gave a brief rundown of the situation on Twitter. I want to speak about a situation involving Tygre Cub that took place in the Board of Trustees Discord in January 2022. This was swept under the rug. These conversations took place during a time when Tiger's handle was TygreCub and their Twitch/Twitter were not marked as 18+. Vapor Bobble and I brought Tiger's sexualization of minor characters on stream to the team. Sink Otter posted a lengthy response defending Tiger's actions, accusing us of rumor mongering and threatening the Discord's privacy. The immediate aftermath, Sink Otter made the decision to leave the team. Conversation about the topic was forbidden, and in February, Vapor Bobble and I left the Board of Trustees. We could not be a part of a team that intentionally isolated us for coming forward about unacceptable behavior in an affiliated community. So this is obviously a completely out of control situation, and it's really easy to get lost and miss a few key details, so I'm gonna give my 2 cents on it. Basically, there's this weird Board of Trustees or whatever the that a few key members of the furry community are a part of, and when Vapor Bobble and Tommy Fox bring to the private Discord's attention that TygreCub is acting totally inappropriately, and the rest of the Discord just goes into hiding. The only person that really responded was Sink the Otter, and he was just there to ride Tiger and cover up his blatantly inappropriate actions. Then the rest of the Discord backs down for some unknown reason, and hey, maybe that's because they're just as bad behind closed doors. Who knows, right? It honestly would not shock me at all. But either way, Vapor and Tommy got isolated and metaphorically kicked out before finally leaving the server on their own accord. And so yeah, that all happened, and when Tiger was obviously forced to respond to these allegations, he says, "This all began when I mistakenly promoted a cub artist. My lack of research when commissioning the otter YCH 2 years ago resulted in the inadvertent support of unsavory content." Which is the obvious lie, right? Because all of the art he commissioned of himself is the character as a baby or toddler, right? There's no excuse for that, and it's honestly just disgusting that he even thinks that's a valid argument or that someone would believe it. In the next few paragraphs, he says that it's age regression and a coping mechanism, which I honestly don't even buy, because especially when you're doing it for mostly sexual reasons, obviously that's the motivation behind all of this. He goes on, "The private conversations presented are between two consenting adults. I called myself a cub to express the aforementioned age play." So here's our smoking gun right here. If you had any doubts, the cub in his name 100% refers to his attraction of, at the very least, anthropomorphic children, and his wish to roleplay as one. He continues addressing another situation that isn't really relevant, and then talks about his creative responsibility, blah blah blah, you already know. Another thing that Tiger has been caught doing on Twitter is using childlike language when flirting with people, just more disgusting behavior. There's another image involving his character that I'm not even sure if I can show on YouTube, but let's just say it's his persona, as I'd say a 5 to 8-year-old propped up in an extremely graphic way. And Tyler has done this many times. The amount of NSFW art he has commissioned of his openly childlike character is sickening, and he has done nothing but try and excuse it. Now, in early 2022, Tyler made this very vague and mysterious statement.
You guys ever get the urge to just up and leave your life behind and just move somewhere and start over? I need to get it. I feel like for my mental health, I need to get out of here. I need newness. I need fresh. I don't know. I feel like I'm a mess.
Well, all the previous events I mentioned led to TygreCub eventually attempting to be unalived, as anyone reasonably would. And after the attempt failed, he went straight to Twitter to start fishing for sympathy with this long, drawn-out explanation about his deteriorating mental health and such. And then in June of 2023, Tyler finally came out as a transgender non-binary, as he puts it. Along with the posts, maybe just to piss off those who hate child one last time, he included this picture, which is very clearly his underage persona sporting underwear and blushing. And that pretty much leads us to today in October of 2023, because nothing interesting involving Tyler has really gone down since June. So yeah, that's TygreCub, or Tiger Stripes, as he now goes by after he was exposed. And it's funny because the furry community is so adamant that they don't support these people and that they don't support this degenerate behavior and how not all of us are that bad. And yet here we are talking about a guy who has gotten away with being an open for years, and not a single prominent person in the community has brought it up. Why is that? I mean, genuine question. What is going on here? Because I don't know. In fact, multiple people in the furry community collaborated with Tyler anyways. They knew what was going on. He literally had Cub in his name, and both Maria Strawberry and Whiskey Dingo, who are apparently popular creators, each with over 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, decided it would be okay to collaborate with Tyler. And make no mistake, Tyler's current popularity and foothold in the community is a direct result of these collaborations by and large. So it really begs a lot of uncomfortable questions when it comes to the community, because now you have to wonder if they're okay with this sort of behavior and going out of their way to avoid discussing it, and even in some cases defending him. What does that say about them? I'm not arguing they're all this bad, right? But they're at least complicit, perhaps due to a culture that's been curated from the top down. If you ask me, the furry community should really focus on making sure this sort of activity and behavior is more closely watched and harshly rejected, because otherwise they're just actively allowing this sort of thing to go down, as it has for over a decade now. But frankly, I don't have any hope with that actually ever happening. I am Fine Crisis. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, sub, etc. Bye.